A guide to hobbyist PCB assembly, Winnow. Are you looking for an exciting new way to get your feet wet in electronics and circuit design? Then Hobbyist PCB assembly is the perfect hobby for you. This comprehensive guide will provide you with comprehensive information on the materials, tools, and techniques necessary to get the most out of your hobbyist PCB assembly. What is hobbyist PCB assembly? Hobbyist PCB assembly is the process of taking printed circuit boards, PCBs, and assembling them into functional electronic devices. This can be done by hand or with the help of automated machines. It is a great way to learn about electronics and circuit design, as well as gain valuable experience in soldering and troubleshooting. Benefits of hobbyist PCB assembly. There are many benefits to hobbyist PCB assembly. It is a great way to learn about electronics, circuit design, and troubleshooting. You can gain valuable experience in soldering and assembling components. You can also save money by creating your own custom electronics devices from scratch. Finally, it is a great way to have fun and develop your skills in the process. The materials needed for PCB assembly. When it comes to hobbyist PCB assembly, there are several materials that you will need. These include a printed circuit board, components, soldering iron, solder, and other tools such as wire cutters and tweezers. You will also need safety equipment such as safety glasses and gloves. Getting started with hobbyist PCB assembly. Once you have gathered the materials mentioned above, you are ready to get started with your hobbyist PCB assembly. Before you begin, it is important to read up on the basics of soldering and circuit design. You should also familiarize yourself with the components that you will be using. This will help ensure that you have a successful assembly. The steps involved in hobbyist PCB assembly. The process of hobbyist PCB assembly can be broken down into several steps. The first step is to place the components on the PCB and solder them in place. This is followed by testing the PCB for any errors. After this is done, the components can be soldered together to form the circuit. Finally, the PCB can be tested again. Common mistakes in hobbyist PCB assembly. When it comes to hobbyist PCB assembly, there are several mistakes that are commonly made. One of the most common mistakes is using the wrong components or using the wrong soldering techniques. It is also important to remember to double-check your work. This will help ensure that your circuit is working correctly. Tools and techniques for successful hobbyist PCB assembly. There are several tools and techniques that can help you be successful in hobbyist PCB assembly. It is important to use the right tools and techniques for the job. For example, a multimeter is an invaluable tool for testing the components and circuits. You should also be familiar with the correct soldering techniques, such as using the correct temperature and amount of solder. Troubleshooting and debugging techniques. Debugging and troubleshooting are essential components of hobbyist PCB assembly. When you are troubleshooting, it is important to check for any errors in the components of the circuit itself. It is also important to use a multimeter to test the components and circuits. This can help you identify any issues quickly and efficiently. Courses and resources for learning more about hobbyist PCB assembly. If you are looking to learn more about hobbyist PCB assembly, there are several courses and resources available online. These courses and resources can provide you with detailed instructions on the materials, tools, and techniques necessary for successful hobbyist PCB assembly. You can also find helpful videos and tutorials that can help you become better at the hobby. Conclusion. Hobbyist PCB assembly is a great way to learn about electronics, circuit design, and troubleshooting. With the right materials, tools, and techniques, you can be successful in building your own custom electronic devices. It is also a great way to have fun and develop your skills in the process. So what are you waiting for? Start your hobbyist PCB assembly journey today. Visit our website, Winnow PCBA.